DarkwingDubb.
Hey, what's up, everybody? And we in here with another one. Yes, I'm glad to be back. Glad to be back. We've been seeing a lot of videos posted by yours truly. As you can see, the WWE has done their yearly release, and we're getting the same reaction that we always get. That's going to be the main course of topic today. But there are a couple things that I wanted to get into before we got to that. So let's start with something that Becky Lynch said. Becky Lynch says WWE needs to recondition the audience to believe women can main event WrestleMania again. Let me tell you something. This WrestleMania did not do that. Actually, the past few WrestleManias haven't done that. Let's look at just this past year's WrestleMania. For the women, we had a 9-minute tag team match. We had an 8-minute women's intercontinental title match. We had a 7-minute women's world title match. And then move over to night 2, Jade and Rhea. We had a 10-minute and 11-second match. Now, we understand, we know that the women can main event, whether if it's WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. I mean, for the past couple years, the women have actually carried this company. Outside of a few good men's matches, the women have carried this, and they don't get the justice that they deserve. We saw the women's evolution pay-per-view, and quite frankly, it's probably the best PLE that this company has put on in some time. And women's evolution match is an all women's PLE. And they have done everything in their power to earn that. And I say that because WrestleMania, we had Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné versus Bianca Belair. This match is widely being considered the greatest women's match in WrestleMania history. So we know that the women can main event if given a chance. And not on top of that, on top of them being considered one of, if not the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, that match also went 17 minutes and 15 seconds. 17 minutes and 15 seconds. Let's rewind here. Jade and Rhea only went 10. Tag team match went 9. Intercontinental match went 8. And the world title match went 7. The greatest women's WrestleMania match of all time went 17 minutes. So what does that tell me? That tells me that A, Becky Lynch is right. The women can be main events. The women, if given the time. I'm not saying every women's match needs to be 20 minutes or 17 minutes. But I think if given the time, they can put on banger of a match. They can put on bangers. We've seen them put on bangers. Hell, just about every 2025 match that EO Sky was in was a fucking banger. So somehow, some way, Triple H, Ari Emanuel, TKO, whoever the hell is running WWE Creative, they've got to figure out a way to get the women back involved. Outside of some freaking WWE Women's Evolution PLE that they don't even want to put on half the time. They did it last year just because so many people were clamoring for it. Are they going to do it again? At this point, we don't know. They're so worried about Saudi Arabia and we don't know. So Becky Lynch is absolutely correct. We have got to get back to where the women can main event WrestleManias. And if y'all don't think so, go back and watch Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. The greatest women's match of all time. Go back and watch that and tell me that women cannot main event WrestleManias. What's crazy is that I don't even think this match was main event. But it is the greatest women's match of all time. And it was probably, maybe, the best match on that PLE. And then they ran it back at SummerSlam. So, and Vince McMahon was still in charge of creative at that point. So, yes, Becky Lynch is absolutely correct. Women can main event WrestleMania. It's just up to creative to give them that creative space to do so. Because, I mean, 9 minutes is not long enough for a fatal four-way tag team match. 8 minutes for a title match. All four of these are title matches. 8 minutes for an Intercontinental title match. 7 minutes for the world title match. That was the co-main event. The co-main event went 7 minutes, but it was a women's match, so we got that. Jade and Rhea, 10 minutes. Like, that's 10 minutes with both of them. 10 minutes for Rhea and Jade. 7 minutes for Liv and Stephanie. Both of them had interference. So you telling me 17 minutes worth of championship matches, we had to get it there with interference. It wasn't a straight up match. If it was straight look. This one match, 17 minutes, was more than 2 of the women's championship matches. Crazy work. Shout out to Sasha Banks, also known as Mercedes Moné, and Bianca Belair for being widely considered the greatest women's WrestleMania match of all time, if not the greatest women's match of all time. Next, I wanted to get into something that was said about Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll. I believe it was Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll says he and Pat McAfee had no business being part of WrestleMania 42 and don't belong in WWE. He says, I had one goal in WWE and I kind of succeeded. Pat, I love you, man. Neither one of us had any business here. I say we should get back to doing what we're good at. And Jelly Roll said that. So as y'all know, Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee played a big part in Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton's feud before WrestleMania. But why? It didn't need it. The story wrote itself. The story was already there. I mean, if you're going to add anybody, maybe Ted Jr., maybe bring KO in, that's just a mouthpiece. But Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll literally made no sense. And Jelly Roll is 1,000% correct. 1,000% correct. Neither one of them had no business in that. And I'm glad that he recognized that. Because having I'm not even gonna say Jelly Roll. I'm gonna say Pat McAfee. Having Pat McAfee being involved in that literally made no sense. It wasn't right to the wrestlers that were part of it. It wasn't right to the people that were left out of it. Think about some of the names that were left out of WrestleMania, all because of guys like Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll and stuff like that, right? Like, you telling me we couldn't have got the United States title for the women's on this card? But no. We just had to have Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll. So I don't know, but it didn't belong. They didn't belong. So much so that Pat McAfee opted out. Pat McAfee opted out of WrestleMania and plans. It was his idea. It was his idea to be taken out of it. It was his idea to be taken out of it. You know, like, it's crazy. He took an RKO. He got his ass handed to him. And it was him at the end of the day that didn't need to be part of it. Going as far as saying that wrestling business doesn't need him anymore. To be clear, the wrestling business hasn't needed you. The wrestling business hasn't needed you. The business doesn't need to be saved after all. I finished my story. There was nothing really wrong with it to begin with. This is just Ari Emanuel and TKO sticking their nose in business that they had no business sticking their nose in. I mean, let's be serious. To the point now that part of the stipulation was if Randy Orton didn't win, Pat McAfee was done. Well, I think Pat's done because Randy didn't win. And he said it himself. His wrestling career is over. Over. So I hope everybody enjoyed Pat McAfee from his time in NXT. You know what? Pat McAfee did really good for what he was good at. With NXT and being on commentary, Pat McAfee was good. It's just but WWE really didn't need him anymore. Joe Tessitore is doing a damn good job for the shit that he's getting on SmackDown. So shout out to Jelly Roll for calling it out. Pat McAfee, I believe he said the whole reason why he took the RKO and was beat up at the beginning of the match and let Jelly Roll put him through the table was because he also felt like he didn't belong there anymore. When he didn't like the negative reaction that not only he was getting, but just WWE as a whole was getting. He didn't like it. So he decided I'll be taken out of this match and I won't come back. And at the end, I'm getting RKO. Randy's going to lose. You never see me again. But you know what? For real though. Shout out to Pat McAfee. He did his thing while he was here. Shout out to Jelly Roll. I will say that there are a number of celebrities that actually take this serious. And I would say Pat McAfee, Jelly Roll are two of them. You know, I Show Speed did his thing. You know, Logan Paul, Bad Bunny. Can't forget about Bad Bunny. He put on a banger of a match with Damian Priest. So, but yeah. I mean, WWE needs to lay off of the celebrities and just let the guys and girls that they hire to do this actually do this. Next on the docket, the Raw and SmackDown after Mania. We were teased with these returns and we were teased with NXT call-ups. And let me tell you, Raw delivered. Raw delivered a damn good Raw after Mania show. It delivered. We're getting a fresh feud for Roman. We're not going back to Cody. We're not going back to CM Punk. Looks like through the summer, we're getting Jacob Fatu, Gunther, and the Hula, Obafemi. Now, to those of y'all that think Obafemi is being pushed too hard, go run into a wall. Like, dude is the hottest wrestler in the world right now. Obafemi is the hottest wrestler in the world. Okay, so if you don't want him to be pushed to the world title, I say you do it like this. You win the Intercontinental title from Penta, you hold on to it long enough to break Gunther's record. Gunther gets jealous. Gunther is the one that eventually takes the belt off of Roman. Then you get a Gunther versus Oba match at SummerSlam, at a SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, something where Oba is crowned the new champion. And then we get Roman wants his belt back. Then we get Roman versus Oba at a WrestleMania. But I don't think Roman's going to be around long enough for Oba to break the Gunther record. So what they're going to do is they're going to give us Gunther versus, I keep saying Gunther. They're going to give us Oba versus Roman probably at SummerSlam or Survivor Series. I'd be happy with either or. But I think Raw delivered. You know, we had a good promo cut by Jacob Fatu on Roman. We're getting Joe Hendry this coming Monday. We saw Ethan Page make his debut. We saw Sol Ruka make her debut. Yeah. I thought it was really good, fun Raw after Mania. But this SmackDown was abysmal. It was abysmal. It was so bad. It's almost like SmackDown is forgotten. We were promised NXT call-ups, and we got Fatal Influence. Don't get me wrong. Fatal Influence, especially Fallon Henley. Fallon Henley is so fine. Y'all don't judge me, but Fallon Henley is so fine. But we got Fatal Influence, but they were talking about Blake Monroe showing up. She didn't show up. They were talking about Ricky Saint showing up. He ain't showing up. We got Julia versus Tiffany. I mean, it was a title match. That could have been on WrestleMania. We had the MFTs versus Damian Priest and R-Truth. That could have been on WrestleMania. But it wasn't. We ended the show with Jacob Fatu versus Solo. And because the twins, the Usos are trying to keep Jacob Fatu from going after Roman. And Jacob Fatu proved the point by taking out all the MFTs with a chair. Let me tell you something. Raw, I gave Raw an A-. I gave SmackDown a D+. Two totally opposite different shows. Like, it was crap. And you know what hurt a lot of that? It's why we're all here right now. The releases. So, WWE has released Kairi Sane, Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, Uncle Howdy, Nikki Cross, Santos Escobar, Motor City Machine Guns, Dexter Lumis, Apollo Crews, Rowan, Joe Gacy, Andre Chase, Zoe Stark, Alba Fire, Tyra May Steele, Serena Linton, Tyson, whatever. Those are NXT and Evolve people. Malik Blade, Chris Island, Trill London, Luca Crucifino. Now, for the most part, a lot of these people aren't really seen on TV. Number one, Andre Chase, not seen on TV. Zoe Stark hasn't been on TV. She was injured. What sucks about that is that she was just cleared to return. And as soon as she got cleared, she gone. That's wild work. Alba Fire, she was just a prop for Chelsea Green. Tyra May Steele, not on TV. Serena Linton, not on TV. Tyson, Tyreek, not seen on TV, not NXT. Maybe Evolve Chris Island. No. Malik Blade. No. Trill London. No. Ever since Tony D'Angelo left the family, Luca Cristofino has not been seen. Apollo Crews has not been seen. So about half the people that were released, it was for good reason. Now, Kairi Sane. Reason why that's an issue is because she was involved in a storyline between Io Sky and Asuka. Now we're not even going to have a payoff for Kairi Sane, Asuka, and Io Sky. That's crazy. Number 2, Aleister Black was just brought back last year, and you already released him. He could have been a mainstay on SmackDown. I don't care what anybody said. Dude could have been in a main event scene of Raw or SmackDown. But since he was on SmackDown, fucking SmackDown. He's not. Zelina Vega. What was wrong with what she was doing? I don't get those are the two that made me I don't understand it. It made me scratch my head. Kairi Sane and Zelina Vega and Aleister Black. Those are the 3 that made me scratch my head like, of all people, why them 3? Meanwhile, I've seen this a lot lately. Meanwhile, old girl Nikita Lyons still has a job, and we all know why. People call it out. And you know what? And I'll say it. It's because she shakes her ass. And because of that, she has over 1 million followers on IG. So that's why she still has a job, not because she can wrestle. But those 3, Kairi Sane, Aleister Black, and Zelina, has me scratching my head. Uncle Howdy, Nikki Cross, Dexter Lumis, and Rowan, and Joe Gacy. I was like, because after their debut, they had probably one of the greatest debuts of all time. But after that, Bo Dallas got hurt, and they really wasn't the same after that. They had like a 6 or 7 month long feud with the MFTs, which, all right, that was cool at first because we had, when they first met each other, it was like, holy shit moment, and then it just died off. So I can understand, but then I can't, because you could have easily sent them down to NXT and they could terrorize NXT. Dark State needs something to do. So they could have sent down there to fuck with Dark State or the family or the rightful ones or whatever they're called. But I felt like they could have did a little bit more with the Wyatt 6. But then again, I understand. Another one that makes sense but doesn't, Santos Escobar. They literally re-signed him, and then just to release him. They re-signed him, put him on AAA. I don't remember which AAA show it was, but I believe it was the one with him and Ray Phoenix, or him and Penta and Dragon Lee, and Grande Americano, but he was just going through the motions. He did not want to be there. You could tell he didn't want to be there. So I understand. Motor City Machine Guns, all they did with the SmackDown Tag Team division is just they gutted it so bad. Like, you could have had Motor City Machine Guns feuding with Damian Priest and R-Truth for the belts. I mean, you could have had Wyatt 6 back in there for the belts. You got the MFTs. Like, everybody, we're tired of seeing the MFTs every week. So what are you going to do to fix the SmackDown tag division? I tell you, there's only one way to fix it. You take the belts away. There's only one set of belts. Just like there's only one set of belts for the women, there needs to be one set of belts for the men. And then there'll be a free-for-all for the tag team titles, because tag team wrestling in WWE does not exist. And it's just such a shame. Yeah, so I understand a lot of these except for the top 3. I felt like they could have done more with the Wyatt 6. Apollo Crews, he was just sitting in catering majority of the time. So I would say about 75% of them, okay, I get it. I get it. I mean, they're not being used. Let them go somewhere else. I guarantee you a lot of these guys and girls end up in places like TNA and MLW and Hog and places like that. Probably I can see maybe one or two ending up in AEW, like Alba Fire. I see can end up in AEW to be part of the Brawling Birds. Motor City Machine Guns. I think they can end up in AEW, but I think everybody else ends up in the Indies out of that. After that, I think Aleister Black burned his bridge in AEW, but we all know Tony Khan to be a forgiving Tony Khan because Andrade is back there. So maybe Aleister Black and Zelina can go to AEW, go back there. But for the most part, I think everybody else ends up in the Indies. I think we'll see if Aleister Black and Zelina want to keep going because Aleister Black was in WWE, got released, went to AEW, didn't like whatever it was going over there, and then came back to WWE. Now it's being released. If I'm him, I go to the Indies and just be happy in the Indies, bro. Be honest with you. Let Motor City Machine Guns and Alba Fire go to AEW, and everybody else just go to do their thing in TNA and the Indies. Honestly, and like I could see Aleister Black and Zelina going to TNA and Aleister Black winning their title, and that way he's still seen on TV. Maybe do some things with NXT. I don't know, but we are seeing this yearly. We know WWE does this every single year after WrestleMania, and yet you get on social media and you see all the selective outrage. A lot of you assholes on there didn't give a damn about any of these people. The only time you really gave a damn about these people is when they get released. You know what? Fuck y'all. If you're going to care all the time. Care all the time. Don't just care when WWE releases them. Where was y'all at when Tony Khan wouldn't let Aleister Black out of his contract? Oh, do what you do. Like, where are y'all at? Because Britt Baker doesn't want to be there. Tony Khan isn't using Britt Baker. Where y'all at? See, it's only a WWE thing. That's that selective outrage. So y'all could go to hell with your selective outrage, and instead of caring about the character themselves, y'all care about the three-letter acronym that y'all care about the most. So to everybody else that's not like that, man, let's just go support these wrestlers. They're going to need our support now more than ever. Let's show them some support. For y'all ones out there with selective outrage, y'all could go to hell for all I care. And then one last thing to go along with that, they're also gutting the NXT roster. Oba Femi, gone. Javon Evans, gone. Trick Williams, gone. Ethan Page, gone. Sol Ruka, gone. Fatal Influence, gone. Blake Monroe, gone. Joe Hendry, gone. Ricky Saints, gone. This is the perfect opportunity for Shawn Michaels to show that this wasn't an anomaly, that he can actually create stars no matter who it is. We know he helped create Oba and Trick, but a lot of these girls and guys were already made. Like Javon Evans was already seen on AEW TV. Ethan Page already seen. Blake Monroe, we know what she did with the Hollywood ending. Joe Hendry was on TNA. Ricky Starks, now Saints, was on AEW. So here's my question to Shawn Michaels. Can you create another Oba Femi? Can you create another Trick Williams? Can you create another Sol Ruka? And can you create another JC Jane? And my girl, Fallon Henley. Anyways, we will see what the future holds for NXT. I think they're on the right path having Tony D'Angelo carry the belt, but y'all be on the lookout for Keanu Carver. I think that's who they're going to use as their next Oba, is Keanu Carver. Anyways, y'all stop having this selective outrage for these WWE releases. They do it every year after WrestleMania, and it's the same selective outrage. And for what reason, I don't know. Support the wrestlers, not the 3-letter acronyms that you love the most. And then that is it for you, boy. I will be back after the NFL draft. I will give a breakdown of my favorite drafts, and I will break down my favorite team's draft, the Baltimore Ravens. See y'all next time. Peace.